SJ. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio, your weekly source for tribal and community news, interesting guests and discussions, plus a local events calendar.
Good morning. Welcome to Mvskoke Radio. Of course, you notice that the voices changed a little bit. This is Darren DeLaune. Gary Fife will be out for the next 2 weeks. Had a little surgery, so we're hoping for a speedy recovery. And also, I know he needed a break from the radio, so we wanted to give him that. And my technical producer said he needs one too. So we all
needed a break from me.
Oh well, not really a break from you. I think he just needed a break. Yeah, just an overall break, probably from me as well. So, but I hope everybody's enjoying their second day of November, and I hope everybody had a great October. For me, October and this first part of November, I feel like I don't know. They always say that term, like a chicken with its head cut off. I feel like my head's been reattached, but it got reattached backwards. I'm all over the place for some reason. I feel like I'm running into walls and everything. But enough about that. We got a pretty good show, really good show lined up for you. We're gonna have. Well, first off, we had one of our interviews had to do a quick cancellation on us. He had to make his way to Oklahoma City. Had a meeting to get to right there. So we're hoping to get him back for next week. But we do have Dina Votra here. She's with the Reintegration Program. She'll be talking about one of the programs that's going to be that they're starting up, and it sounds like a great thing that they're doing down there. They're always doing something phenomenal and amazing, and they're just adding to the list. So Dina will be on the radio show later, and we're going to start off this one. Gary did a recorded interview with our new Mvskoke Creek Nation Tourism and Recreation Director, David Turner, and they're going to give a rundown on what this interview was. So we'll let the recorded interview take over.
Right, you'll be taking over this job under the administration of Chief James Floyd, and you've got quite a challenge there. The Tourism and Recreation Department is responsible for so many things that end up being the most popular things on Creek Nation's agenda. First of all, let's learn a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background real quick. Give me a capsule there.
Okay. Well, my name, like I said, is David Turner, and I have a degree in agriculture, actually, in education, but also with an emphasis in leadership. And I've spent really a career developing myself as a leader and also implementing leadership programs wherever I've been. I enjoy working with professionalism, teaching, coaching, but also putting on large events. It's been a forte of mine. I've enjoyed getting to work with that, work on the fine details. And that's something that this staff, as I've got to know them already, they are very detail-oriented, which this matches up well as far as personality, as far as taking care of details.
Is there anything in your background that you think that especially prepared you for this really challenging position?
Yes, exactly. When I interviewed, actually, one of the phrases used was, "There's a lot of moving parts, constant," and it's true. I've already experienced that in this short time, so many moving parts. But I have experience with that with lots of moving parts, and so that was something that did not deter me from the job at all, or make me not want to take on the challenge. And also, I knew right away that there was a staff in place that has a lot of experience. And so, although I'm new to tourism and recreation, the staff is very experienced and well-equipped to do what they do. Just for instance, the festival last year was great, was awesome. And you have to really compliment the staff that was already in place, that they did such a great job putting on that festival last year.
Year after year, they've done that. It seemed like they had a little more leeway this time around with the new administration, sort of kind of turned them loose and said, make it happen. With a full year like that, I mean, all these big events coming up, I guess, what is your first task for you when you settle into the office? What did you feel you needed to do first?
Probably my first task was simply to introduce myself to the staff and really find where I could best make an impact and where I could best kind of come in and serve. So more than anything, there's so many good folks in that department. But no matter how many good folks you have still have to have a common direction and a little bit of a leadership role. And so I'm trying my best to provide that. I'm trying my best to provide just a direction, cohesiveness. It can be challenging with so many great people and so many people, that are so used to just moving along and working at a certain pace. But I've found that challenge. We're working through everything. And I'm getting to know them, and they're getting to know me. And it's really just kind of a relationship building more than anything else. The first challenge was simply relationship building, and it's so much easier to go to work with people when you come across a kind of a roadblock, something that's going to could cause an issue. If you have a relationship with people, you typically can work through that. And so that's been my first really item on my agenda, is simply to develop relationships, get to know people, outreach, and not just in that department, just throughout the nation as well, just to be able to introduce myself and say, we're here. If we can be of service, let us know. We'd like to try to help, and also provide a great service for the nation, and providing use of the dome, and then, of course, putting on the festival, which is so popular.
We're here in mid-October now, looking towards winter season. And then, of course, after the first of the year, things will be picking up again. So in the next few months, do you think, what will be your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge coming up, I think we're entering that season right now, and that is, we talked about already just how many moving parts, how fluid it is, how it's constantly rolling. And to really get to see that happen, we've been talking about, now it's going to happen. We really speed up the process really this month. It has really seemed like it's really kicked off. And I actually brought Carmen Tiger with me today. She's a marketing specialist basically for us, and does a great job of coordinating events. And one particular event that's on the agenda is Fall Fest, and she has really kind of spearheaded that. And so I'm excited that she's really kind of caught me up to speed on Fall Fest. And I really like for her to share a little bit about Fall Fest, so we can kind of plug that as well and get that date and stuff out there.
I want to get to you in just 1 second here, but you used the phrase "caught you up to speed." Mm-hmm. Where did you think you needed to shift into a higher gear, so to speak?
Not so much in a higher gear, but just every organization or anything that you're a part of, there's always just the way that things have happened, things have ran, and it's coming into that and seeing what's ran well. And some things are going so well, there's no need for a major change around. So it's just me falling in there and going to work and moving a chair if I need to, and setting up a table if I need to, and just being a presence there as well. Just another hand on deck, basically. So by caught up to speed, I really mean more so, but there has been a learning aspect. Several employees have many years in this department, and so there's some things that they're just saying, hey, this is how this kind of happens. I'm going, oh, great. And then it's not such a learning curve for me.
Okay, well, let me ask you, Carmen, what's on that agenda? It sounds like you've got some ambitious months ahead of you there.
Yes, the Indian Fall Festival is going to be October 29th on Saturday, but it's going to be a very full day. We will start at 10 o'clock and probably end about 8 o'clock. But what we're combining the Halloween movies. So the movies at the Dome will also be following the Indian Fall Festival, which that's going to be 2 events. The Indian Fall Festival with the chili cook-off, the fry bread cook-off, the inflatables for the children, which will be indoors. You don't have to worry about the weather. We'll also have the artisans selling their wares, Christmas shopping for everyone. We'll have fry bread, we'll have beans and the concession. We'll also have food affordable for families to come out. There's no charge, so we want everybody to come out the same as always, except for we're combining the movies at the Dome. We'll also have free popcorn for the children. We'll have some Halloween candy for them as well if they're dressed in their costume. So we want everyone to come out. We'll have a picture booth outside where they can sit on the hay around the pumpkins and take a family picture as well.
Well, you certainly had me at chili cook-off, I think. But is the addition of these food competitions new? Is it something that you hadn't tried before?
Well, last year I had spearheaded the chili cook-off, and it was a very successful event. So we're going to move along with that as well. We've had the fry bread from the inception of the Indian Fall Festival. So we've added the chili cook-off, and now we've combined the movies at the Dome. So it's going to be a very full event, and we would love all the families to come out with their children.
Well, let me ask you a question slightly off the subject. Every year there's a National Taco Championship up in, was it Pawhuska? And it seems like every year Osages are winning it every time. I mean, other tribes going to have a fair shot at competition here, do you think?
I do believe so. Last year we did have a Creek citizen win last year, so it's just how your fry bread tastes, and this year we hope to have chief, second chief, some of the council members to be the judges this year. So.
Oh, wonderful task. Okay, Mr. Turner, now, as we were chatting out in the lobby here, you've gotten into one of the busiest and most challenging positions. It's responsible for some of the most popular events. Does a thing like the June Festival kind of give you a little bit of anxiety there? I mean, it's such a huge enterprise, and it goes in so many directions and so many things to deal with.
Yes, sir, it does. And I'll be completely honest about that because I believe that when you're putting on a small program or a large program, if you don't have some anxiety or a little bit of nerves about that, it means you don't care. And I care tremendously that goes off successfully, not just for me. Obviously, I want it to be a good event because I'll be involved with it, but I want it to be a good event for our citizens. And so there is anxiety that goes along with that. I've spent days and nights awake thinking about it already, and just what all has to happen. But the reassurance I have in that is, as I get nervous about something, I approach one of the employees, one of the people who have experience in that. They quickly can tell me, well, this is typically what we would do, and we can change some things, but for the most part, it's going to be okay. We're going to get it. We're going to make it happen. And so I'm excited about it, and I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about whatever I have my hand in. I want to make sure it's successful. And that drives me really day to day. It's just my passion to be successful with whatever it is that I'm working on that particular day.
In the last couple of years, it seems like it's grown and gotten more ambitious in the scope of its presentation. I guess one good example I was particularly glad to see was, change in entertainment. Some people were somewhat, jaded on seeing the same type of performers coming. This year it changed and got quite a response. Those kinds of things are, while not official problems, shall we call them, but they are there and they affect the character of the presentation. So do you have anything in mind as far as what you'd like to do, or is there a preview yet of who you're looking at?
Well, we actually are very quickly this week going to have sit-downs with Chief Floyd and, of course, our staff, and really start to just have that discussion about specifically entertainment, what we're going to bring in, who, the amount of days, just kind of how it's going to evolve this year. And so I can't release anything just yet, just mainly because we don't know yet. We have lots of ideas, but nothing concrete and already established, and definitely no contracts signed with anybody. But we recognized as well what a success it was last year. So you can bet that we want to continue with that theme, and not just that theme, but really that, whether it be genre or whether it be just the way it flowed, the timing, we want to continue to hopefully build on that success. So we'll be looking at what happened last year very much as our guideline going into this year's plannings.
Let me ask you another question that's in the same vein, and perhaps toss a suggestion or something. One of the things that we saw was more native entertainment on that lineup. Tribe Called Red got a terrific response, and people were so glad to see other Indian people up there performing. There are obviously more native musicians around the nation that could be brought in. There are comedians of both male and female. I mean, I spoke with 4 ladies that had me in stitches on the radio show. Now, can we possibly see something like that expanding into maybe some new direction there?
I would say definitely, and really I take that as a very much what you said just now as an idea to maybe run with. And so anytime we can be supportive of other natives trying to be successful, there again with our idea of being successful, wanting to be successful, if we can help them out, that would definitely be a plus for us as well. So we haven't got any name on the board in a sense that we're looking at, but we would sure take some recommendations and look at some names. And so I think that would be great. And of course, everybody's going to be excited about seeing a native performer or native, whether it be a comedian or a musical group or anything else, because that's just exciting, seeing your own up there, and that brings that emotion that besides just being an entertainer, it's a little bit more personal when that happens.
One more question in that vein. This festival is probably the biggest thing to hit Okmulgee, and so we're talking the entire community there. Our non-native neighbors are showing up in large numbers, of course, and people are driving in, checking it out. Cost is wonderful. It's free. I mean, how can you argue with that? But how can you make your efforts for this event and possibly any other thing that you're doing appeal to our neighbors out in our community here?
Well, simply with every decision we make going into the festival, it really has our Mvskoke Creek Nation at its heart. You know, if we can make it, because first and foremost, the festival is for the Creek citizens. We want them to come have a homecoming, to be able to come back, enjoy family and friends that they have or haven't seen in a while, and that's first and foremost our objective. I believe everybody would agree with that. However, we open it up to anybody. You know, if you want to come enjoy, take advantage of the free rides and this carnival, especially. You know, the kids love to come and ride those rides, or maybe it's the entertainment that draws them. So it's very much we focus in on really putting on a very good show and really a family reunion for the Creek Nation, with the idea that everybody is invited. So we kind of have our I think our priorities in line.
Among those priorities, how are you going to ride herd on the folks who show up? Looking at the flip side of the coin, you know, in past there have been fights, and a number of liquor bottles show up in the bathrooms, and people getting out of hand and this kind of thing. So how do you balance that portion of an event with everything else?
Well, our light horsemen showed up last year in numbers, and extended sources were brought in for extra security. It was evident last year that there was just a bigger presence. And it's hard to say because I wasn't here. I don't know exact numbers, but it felt as if there were larger numbers of security on guard, in a sense, and really on duty. And I think that really helped. The addition of a tower that you can really keep your eyes on everybody, I believe that helped as well. And so just following suit with that, we'll have plenty of security on duty. And then I think there's a certain amount of expectation that we place on the people who come take advantage of this great opportunity to come have fun. And that's to keep it fun, keep it a family atmosphere. I really hope that whether you're 8 years old or 88 years old, you can come to the festival and enjoy it and feel safe. And so that'll be a priority for us, is making sure we have lots of attention to security detail. EMTs last year was great as well as far as health. People who fainted because of the heat, and they were right on that. And I was proud last year to look around and just see the presence of volunteers that were just there to help out, to be on the spot, especially when it comes to security.
In looking at your job, part of your responsibility, in a sense, is marketing the Mvskoke Creek Nation to the rest of Okmulgee, to the region, Tulsa, state of Oklahoma, national and even international audiences. How does that play into your planning?
Well, yeah, tourism is a big aspect of what we're trying to do as well. We're really trying to follow suit with so many native tribes who have been able to educate. Really, I look at tourism really as an aspect to be able to educate the population that passes through about our culture. I think the more people who are educated about not just our culture, but all the tribes that surround us, and especially here in Oklahoma, because there's so many located here, if we can educate them, we have more people that will be in support of our native culture and native people going forward. And so we look at when we have a chance to bring people in, and we're just starting to really develop tourism, and we hope that will grow and we can capitalize on that. But really, from the standpoint, personally, for me, it's a chance that anybody who stops and says, wow, let's stop and check this out. This looks very neat. Hopefully they leave with an education. They leave going, wow, now I have a newfound appreciation specifically for the Mvskoke Creek Nation.
One of the things we've seen this year after the change in administrations was a real emphasis on being financially more conservative. In other words, we found large holes here in different parts of our budget. And it may or may not give you enough to do what you really want to. So how does that affect what you've got in mind?
Well, I just go to work with the idea of we're trying to put plans in place to be able to grow the tourism aspect of our nation. I think you just have to go to work with the idea that we're going to see these things happen, but also be willing to be patient and wait on those funds to become available. From year to year, the tribe's going to face different obstacles every year. And we may be hoping to move forward this year with this particular plan, and we may be on the back burner for years to come. And that is because hopefully with our leadership in place and as they make decisions, they're always going to make the decisions what's best for the citizens as a whole. And so I think you have to have a hopeful work about you every day that we're going to see this happen, but then also keep a steady amount of appreciation for the fact that when it's our turn, when it's our time, we'll see these things put in place.
One of the things we see being fairly successfully accomplished is with the Cherokee Nation, our kinfolk up and down the road here. They've got a lot of different kinds of things that are pretty well regularly popping up in the media, whether it's their national holiday or an art show or some show they're running at Hard Rock or something like that. That's pretty tough competition. So how do you figure the Creek Nation's going to pull its weight in trying to offset some of that?
Well, I think mainly because I don't see it as competition at all. I see it as a brotherhood. We just left Intertribal, where we went down and were able to work with the Cherokee Nation, Chickasaw Nation, Choctaw Nation, and Seminole Nation, and the people in their departments, which would be the equivalent of our Tourism and Recreation Department. They all have slightly different names, but we basically all do the same thing. And so with festivals or tourism, we're all really trying to get ideas from each other. And the nations that may seem they're a little ahead of us in those departments, they're so great to offer that helping hand of here's how we got here, here's a plan, here's an idea. And so I could just rave really about the extended hand that I've already received just in my short time with tourism and recreation with that department. How they have just said anything you need, if we can help you, we want to work together and we want to help you with that. So I'm looking forward to that relationship as it grows through the years. And yes, I would love to see us be able to put some things in place. And we got some things going on. The renovation of the council house is going to be great, and people are going to want to see that. And I'm so proud. It makes me very prideful. A sense of pride in me about having the council house preserved. And so for all the people, for all the many years who have taken that stance or that passed that legislation or whatever it was that got the council house where it is today, where we have possession of it again, we're able to make those renovations. I want to say a big thank you, because now in 2016, we're going to be able to capitalize on that with, the educational aspect, bringing people through and being able to really share with them our culture.
Final question. Knowing Native people the way I do, they're always going to be asking, well, show me. What do you got there? Point to something. So what would you be telling those people who are having those questions right now, saying, okay, what's going to happen next?
Well, I guess it's hard to foretell the future. But plans would go as far as what you see a lot of what the the Cherokee Nation and maybe even the Chickasaw Nation, a cultural heritage center, where they're, again, I use the word education a lot because I really believe that's my kind of my go-to word when we talk about tourism. It isn't just for people to come through and have a great time. We want them to enjoy it, but we really want them to leave with a deeper appreciation of our nation. And so a cultural or / heritage center that they could come and within an hour's time of being in there, leave with knowing so much more and being just more informed about some of the struggles that our nation has overcome, and where we are today and successes that we can celebrate today. So that's I hope on the horizon. I can't tell you a day because I don't know yet, but we sure are going to be working towards that constantly. And then just expansions at the Omniplex, the Claude Cox Omniplex, and that's a mouthful, and the Dome as well. Just where we have our festival, be able to see that site grow from the standpoint of being able to offer more services, especially during festival time, to our nation as well.
Well, I was ready to let you go, but you mentioned the downtown area, and I just have to come back to that. Then we've seen a real struggle in finding support for any repair or renovation to the council house, and having seen it up close, we see that part of it's in danger of collapse. The a group ahead of you, your predecessors, were looking to develop that cultural center in a downtown retail space. This would go hand in hand with Okmulgee Rising, the efforts there. So people are going to wonder, okay, well, what are you going to do with the council house and a cultural center? So what can you tell them?
Well, I want to make sure that respectfully, the cultural department, they really are leading that initiative, and so I've been abreast of some of their ideas and some of the things that they're wanting to do, but I don't know all their details. But I hope, and I think we can do this, and feel good about. I really hope that it falls right along the lines of Okmulgee Rising. Having passed through Okmulgee all my life at different times, I'm really proud of where downtown Okmulgee is right now. I think if you are you live in this area, whether you're a citizen or not, if you live in the Okmulgee area, you have to be proud. So I really like to applaud the efforts of everybody who has had a hand in Okmulgee Rising and has really pushed that initiative. And I hope that we, as a nation, can follow suit with that, with the council house and maybe some type of cultural or visitor center or some retail space that would just, there again, as people come in, they would get a chance to see us, maybe even buy something, and maybe a T-shirt or something that a little bit more of a take-home item that they'll be able to purchase from us.
Okay, that's everything on the top of my mind. Do you have any further thoughts or comments you'd care to share?
I guess if I was to wrap up, I would just say I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with the Creek Nation. And there again, from the standpoint of if I could put an emphasis for everybody who hears this or has a chance to that follows along and gets a chance to know me better, it's I take life very much one day at a time from the standpoint of so much in my life has been taken. I've lost most of my loved ones, my close people. My mom and my sister, who really had a big impact on raising me, I had to bury them, so I live with a different outlook on my life today. It's really about enjoying each other, about appreciating each other, and doing what you can to lend a helping hand to others. So that's what I really come to work for every day, is see how I can make a difference, and if I can leave a more positive aspect in this life, I want to leave that behind. And so I would encourage everybody to do the same, and I think we'll just have a happier world to live in.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Turner. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Gary Five with the earlier recorded interview with our Mvskoke Creek Nation Tourism and Recreation Director, David Turner. We're going to take a little break we're going to take a quick break from Mvskoke Radio, and we're going to come back with Dina Vultra, who's going to be talking about a new program that's going to be with the Mvskoke Creek Nation Reintegration Department. And so please stick around and listen to what she has to say. We'll be right back.
Who am I? Am I native? I don't want people assuming things because I'm Indian. I just want to be me. But how do I live in two worlds? Some guys just check out by doing meth. But that ain't for me. Because I see my family, my friends, my drum making, my future. There are a lot of cool things about being who I am. And meth isn't one of them.
Learn more at ncai.org. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free America and the National Congress of American Indians.
Welcome back to Mvskoke Radio. We're going to be talking with Dina Vultra, who's the program coordinator at the Reintegration Program. The Reintegration Program started up something mid this year. That's going to be targeted towards the veterans, and I'm saying more like the homeless veterans. So, let me just welcome Dina. How are you doing, Dina?
Good morning. Thank y'all for having me. I'm great. Glad to be here.
Very glad that you're here, too. Dina, with the Reintegration Program, could you please tell us about this little program that your department has started?
Yes. Earlier this year, I believe it came down from Second Chief Lewis Hicks, who we have a lot of members of the Mvskoke Creek Nation who have served our country. And when they learned of the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program, they wanted us to apply for the federal grant for funding to get this started to help our community members. And we were awarded the grant, and we have just been trying to help and serve those who served us and to help them live a more sustainable life and get them back on their feet from a rough patch that they've endured.
And if I'm not mistaken, I graduated with Second Chief's son, and I think he told me that Second Chief did serve in the Vietnam War. So
I do believe so.
Yeah, so I think that's I know that's near and dear to him. Always helping out veterans one way or the other.
His son is a veteran.
Yeah,
as
his
well.
son's a veteran as well. Yeah, exactly. So how long is this, or like what was the grant? Is it like a matching grant, or like do y'all have it like a certain amount of years and like?
This grant is funded year to year, so
Mm-hmm.
each year you must reapply. So depending on how well we do in getting our name out there and getting more veterans to come and receive our services, the better we'll be able to serve more in the future.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, let's take it back real quick, and I should have done this at the beginning with. Of course, this is Dina Votra. She's of course the program coordinator. But you recently started with the reintegration program. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I'm Dina Votra. I am native to Okemah, Oklahoma. Born and raised there pretty much all my life. I have a 15-year-old daughter that's in Okemah High School. She's preparing for her endeavors after high school. I'm very involved in the community, very involved in reintegration. I love the people that I work with, and I couldn't ask for a better team of people to spend my Mondays through Fridays with.
And speaking of that, before reintegration, and you were with in some form. You were with the Department of Corrections for a while. Is that correct?
I worked several years for the Department of Corrections, which my father did also. He's a 30-year retiree from the Department of Corrections, and that's where we came to know the wonderful folks over at the prison reintegration, where they help reintegrate people from the prison system back into society. And that's where I first met them and became friends, and I'm so thankful that I did.
Like that bringing that back up, you're with the Department of Corrections, so how was it, being there in the, I'm going to say pretty much the hot zone, you pretty much had to be with the inmates all the time, but what was their attitude like whenever, you had some that were going through, getting ready to be released, going and finding out about the reintegration program? Were they happy about that? Were they looking forward to it? Or, not just happy that they're getting out, but, happy that they finally have something that somebody or some department that's going to help them?
Well, a lot of people that go into the prison system, they've really burned some bridges with family and loved ones, so it's really hard to get back on their feet. And the reintegration program is truly a lifeline. It's literally something that someone who has thrown out a lifeline to somebody and reeled them back in and helped them to be able to get the help that they need to be able to get back on their feet. Most people are scared. They don't know what they're going to do upon their release, and the reintegration provides them with the help and services that they need. And the veterans aspect is just another linkage to being able to help people, which is really at our core.
That rolls into the question whenever you brought up about the veterans, with the this new program that's is going to be focusing on the homeless veterans. Why do you feel that we need something like that, something like this, for?
Well, they say that 1 in 4 homeless people on the streets, 1 out of those 4 is a veteran. And most veterans have endured PTSD trauma from their time in service, in their time in combat. And some of them experience substance abuse, and they really have a hard time readjusting back out of the combat zone. And so that kind of hinders them from being able to get back into the work field. And so whenever HVRP, the Homeless Veterans Program, comes up alongside them, we really link them with behavioral health, vocational training, job assistance. We help them build resumes, do mock training with them. We can help provide clothing for them for their interviews and whatever job field that they decide to go into. If they don't have the necessary skill trait that they need to enter into the workforce that they want, we can help them with going back to school and helping. We have funds through the Department of Labor on this grant to be able to pay for education.
All right, you said that was through the Department of Labor?
It is. It is through the Department of Labor. So the whole goal of the grant is employment. So those who come to seeking help from us really need to be capable, able, and willing to work.
Has it already, from getting the start of this, when did it actually go into, I know you said you got awarded the grant back in July. Mm-hmm. When did it actually go into effect?
Immediately. We were immediately joining up with forces like the Volunteers of America, SSVF, the VA, the guys over at the Mvskoke VA, Ken Davis and Sean, they have been just really great at making referrals and linking us up. And HUD VASH, which is where HUD and VA have joined forces, it's finally, really starting to get off the ground. So we're going to be able to do linkages and get housing for these veterans who are experiencing homelessness. And another thing, most people look at homelessness and think that homelessness just means that you're living on the street or you're living in a homeless shelter. But homeless and at risk of homelessness could be you've lost your job, you're facing eviction, you're living with your parents, your grandparents, a friend, couch surfing. You just really don't have a place of your own. So some people think, well, I'm not homeless, I live with my dad. But in actuality, you are homeless. You're not sustaining a home of your own.
Now, do y'all have any statistics or anything on maybe the homeless veterans that are within the Mvskoke Creek Nation, and also maybe that are some that are Mvskoke Creek?
As of right now, I don't have statistics on the percentage of homelessness who are Native American. I was recently able to attend the stand down in Tulsa through Volunteers of America, and I did have several people that came to my table claiming to be Native American, and we had 300 people show up for that stand down, and I probably had around 30 that came to my table saying that we're Native American, and I would probably say maybe 10% of that claimed Creek citizenship.
Okay. Could you tell our audience what the stand down is that you're talking about?
Well, a stand down is, it goes back to, I believe, World War II, when those who were in combat battle, they endured injuries, they had been without food, water, and the basic needs, necessities of life. So people would come in and they would provide food, clothing, haircuts, dental, medical attention. So when we have stand downs today, it's where many organizations join together and we provide these basic necessities to these veterans who are experiencing homelessness and link them up with referrals and organizations that can provide services to get them out of homelessness.
And how many times a year do they have this? Is it like maybe a quarter, once a quarter or once a month? Or?
I believe it's probably twice a year. This Friday we're having a stand down, an intertribal stand down at the Cox Convention Center in Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And we get to be a part of that also.
Perfect.
Excited about that.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. It does sound like you're doing a lot of great things to help out with.
We sure try.
Yeah.
We try.
With the homeless veteran program, is there certain requirements that?
There is. You must be a Native American card holder, and we are through Creek Nation, so we do have a preference toward Creek citizens. Mm-hmm. You must have your DD 214 and have any discharge other than dishonorable.
Okay. Of course, with a civilian like me, DD 214, of course, that's like just letters and numbers. So could you tell us what that is?
A DD 214 is your discharge papers.
Okay.
It'll show what you done, what branch you held, what years you were activated, and it'll also tell us what type of discharge you had from service.
Mm-hmm. And with, you're saying that y'all automatically just started almost immediately. Is there a lot of I guess does the ages vary, or is there a certain criteria, a certain age group, maybe 24 to 34 or something like that, or is it just wide range?
I would say it's pretty wide range. Mm-hmm. I have had assessments with clients from, I would say, 24 years of age all the way to those who served in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. So all in between. And as long as you're able to work, we're able to help you.
Why you're saying like is the substance abuse and everything, but and I'm not sure if you can answer this question, but with why do you think that the veterans we're not try not to get help or anything like that, or maybe I'm trying to make sure that question is correct, but why do you think they aren't trying to get the help that they need? I mean, or do they possibly know that they're suffering?
Possibly they may be too proud to get help. Possibly they, and like I said before, sometimes they don't even know that they're homeless, and they don't know the services that are offered to help get them out of the dilemma that they're in. I know a lot of veterans do experience PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, from what they endured, and I know that from some of the people that I've spoke with, it went from the professional being in the military into their personal lives, and it affected that to an extent. And we do at Homeless Veterans Reintegration provide linkages to behavioral health to help them deal with the issues that are preventing them, that are barriers to employment.
That right, pretty much you just keep reading my mind. Thank you. That's what I was going to ask about that. Do y'all maybe like point them that right direction or refer them out to our like behavioral health? We absolutely do, and the VA in Mvskoke has a great mental health department, and through the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program, lots of our homeless vets have either lost their license, or they don't have their license, or they have some situation surrounding their transportation, and we do provide transportation through Cat's Butts tickets, Tulsa Transit. We have a bus driver that can help with transporting these veterans to job interviews or to behavioral health or to whatever needs that they need. We're speaking with Dina Vulture, who's with the Reintegration Program, but it's also the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. Let's see, a lot of people see that whenever as a homeless veteran, they think it's just men. Some people sometimes forget too, and that women do serve as well. Have you come across any women that have seek the program services?
I do. I actually have a couple of women on my caseload, and I would love for women to come forward. We have several women. I know that statistics, and they are a target group. Women are a very high target group for reintegration, and we hope that more women would come forward seeking help. We know that they're there. We know the statistics are high, and we would love to have more women come for services.
Now, do they come into the to y'all's department, or do y'all have to go out and see them there? I mean, do they?
I will come to them. If they can't get to me, I will come to them. They can call the reintegration, or most places in Tulsa and the surrounding areas do refer them to me. So I get a lot of people from employment and training over at the main complex that come in for the employment and training, and they are really wonderful at referring people who are job seeking, and the Workforce Oklahoma here are really great at referring people for assistance. But most times it's just really word of mouth, because we're really not known yet. We're still, in the baby steps of trying to grow and get our name out there.
Mm-hmm. How are you getting your name out there? I know, one good thing, of course, is like the radio show and everything. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be doing couple of other things with y'all later. I know I've always got a good rapport with Reintegration Program, so I'm looking forward to doing anything I can to help out. But how else are y'all getting your word out by any chance?
We go to the Community Service Council meetings. We're involved with Volunteers of America. We do the stand downs, of course, which help. We put out flyers everywhere we can. I'm very proactive on social media with the veterans websites there, the Better Box Project. I just try to seek out anything that's got veteran and the word homeless in it, and I just try to contact them and let them be aware of us. 12 and 12 in Tulsa has the Bryce House, which is the veterans part of the recovery that they have, and they've been really great at referring people who are there also to me. So it's just really referral based, but this will really help with especially the Creek citizens who listen to your broadcast to be able to know. And if you yourself aren't a veteran and you're not homeless, you might know of someone who is.
You know, with you're saying it's still in the baby phases right now, but are there any any stories, or is there any one client? Of course, you don't give out the name or anything
Right.
that just stands out that you may just sticks in your brain right now, or are there any success stories that you can?
Oh,
kinda-
yes. I have one client who has really just took leaps and bounds in getting his feet on the ground, and he actually qualified for both sides of our program, and it's been a joy to get to watch him, go into employment and get the behavioral health that he needs. And he is really living a successful life today. And because of the services that we've been able to provide, it's really given him, he came to us, and I could truly see within him that he didn't want just a handout, but he wanted a hand up. And those are truly the people that I love helping, are the ones that really are proactive, and I understand, coming alongside, you're new to this and you're trying to, you don't know where to go and where to turn. So I love holding a person's hand and helping them along the way, but I truly enjoy somebody taking ownership of their own life. And I have several success stories of people who are on the program, and there are a few that really stand out to me, but each individual person has truly been a success in their own right.
All right. With this type of program, after is there a certain time frame that you have to help or get so much done with the homeless veterans, helping them find employment, helping them get ready? Is there a certain time, 6 months, 9 months, or
Everything
like
is really just as soon as possible. We really hit the ground running, and any service that we can implement, we do that immediately. So we do have quarterly reports that are due, and we have goals that we want to attain. But even if we can overshoot those goals, we're all for it.
With excuse me, what let me see how I can word this. How can whenever they you got to refer them to, you remember you said that sometimes they're too proud to come there to ask for services or anything. How do you explain it to them that, hey, you do need this. You need this to be successful. You need this to get your life moving forward. How do you explain that to them, to somebody that has that pride? I mean, that pride that they just have instilled in them. How do you do that? I mean,
Well,
'cause I know that has to be tough.
It is, and I try to explain these services are here for a reason. Because you served us, we want to serve you back. We want you to have the best possible life. And I really hope that people would know that these services aren't here just how should I say it? They're not there just as a handout, and most people are too prideful, and they're like, well, I don't really want a handout. And I try to explain it's not a handout, it's a hand up. It's not about pride. It's not about, feeling unworthy of something. You served us, and these services are here to serve you.
Exactly. Now with, it's sorry, like you said, you're already hitting the ground running. Do you? I know I might have asked you earlier on statistics. Do you happen to know maybe how many you have helped already, or do you have an approximate number?
Well, I don't really have an approximate number due to different people being in different phases of the program, so it's hard to put a number on it right now.
You mentioned earlier that there was you said one of your success stories that was eligible for both sides of the program. what are you talking about on that part? Like when you say both sides of the program, is it like
He was justice involved.
Oh.
Justice involved. He had come out of the prison system, so he was a veteran and was justice involved. So we were able to help him. We were able to do a wraparound program with him and help him with multiple services.
You know, besides the like you said when we talked about the situation of somebody that is just too prideful, have you been met with any adversity of any other kind trying to get this program off and running, or has everybody been welcoming?
Oh, everyone has truly been welcoming, and I really enjoy everyone who just really they hear of our program and they really want to help. They want to refer. They want to help patchwork services, and it's really a joy to hear whenever you hear other organizations are like, well, you can help them with this area, I can help them with this area, and we can really do a real wraparound to provide the most services that we can.
So a lot of collaborative
Definitely,
works.
very collaborative. We're involved with many organizations, as many as we can, and if there's any organizations out there listening, you can please contact me also.
And let's go ahead and just get to that point. Can you give a little address or the contact number to get a hold of you?
Well, I am located at the main reintegration office in Henrietta. It's at 615 East Corporation Street. It's down Nichols Park Road, and then you turn off on Corporation, and you just follow that road, and you'll see us there on the right. My contact number is 918-652-2676, and that goes to the main reintegration office. If I'm not in the office, because I am in the field a lot, I will contact you just as soon as I get your contact information. And my email is my name. It is dvotra@mcn-nsn.gov, and I would just love to have contact and feedback and referrals, and organizations that would like to collaborate. Please get with me. I'm all for it, and I will rearrange my schedule to be able to meet the needs of our veterans, to be able to help them as much as we can.
Perfect. That's great to hear. And I want to give a big thank you for coming on to the show today, Dina, and being able to tell the people who, and I'm one of them, who did not know about this program. And obviously you're already jumping onto the ground running and getting some great things going. And I want to thank you again for being able to do this. And we got to thank Lewis Hicks too, for one of the Second Chief Lewis Hicks. Forgive me, he always gets on to me if I call him Second Chief. So I want to thank him for just thinking about this, getting this started. For one reason, my sister's a veteran, and it's just her husband's still in the Army. So
Wow.
it's just a great thing to hear about what you all are doing. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And can you give us that contact number one more time?
It's 918-652-2676.
All right. Thank you very much again, Dina Votra with the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program. Dina, stick around for a little bit because I want to talk to you a little bit after the show. But we're going to go straight into our community announcements, and then after that I will tell everybody what's been going on over at Mvskoke Media. Of course, the first announcement, as a matter of fact, is what we've been talking about. So as Tension Creek veterans, the Mvskoke Creek Nation Reintegration Program was awarded the Homeless Veterans Reintegration Program grant. For more information on that, you'll contact Dina Votra, and she just said the number, but I'll say it again, 918-652-2676. Next one, Macy's e-commerce fulfillment center hiring event. Seasonal warehouse and forklift operators. That'll be going on, as a matter of fact, it's going on right now from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to Tulsa Creek Indian Community Center. That's at 8611 South Union in Tulsa. The starting pay is $10.50 to $12.50 an hour. Flexible schedules, of course, and the awesome part, 20% shopping discount. That always works right there. So please, if you're wanting to do seasonal work for warehouse and forklift operators, hightail it to Tulsa Creek Indian Community Center. It's only going on till 2 o'clock today. And again, that is for Macy's. The Estuji Fest, a resource baby shower hosted by the Mvskoke Creek Tribal Child and Youth Coalition. That will be tomorrow from 5 to 7 at the Mvskoke Dome within the Claude Cox Omniplex. The thing about it is you must have RSVP'd pre-registered by October 14th. Hey, if you have any more information about, if you have any questions about this, sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here, please contact Holly Ledford at 918-758-1930. And then, of course, we got a big thing going on. I know everybody at Mvskoke Media has been talking about this a lot. It's the Yuchi Heritage Festival. It's going on November 4th and 5th at the Claude Cox Omniplex. On Friday, from 6:30 to 11, they're going to be having their traditional dinner, Yuchi language play, which sounds very, very cool. The silent auction will be starting, and, of course, the bingo. Of course, you got to have bingo. Saturday, from noon to midnight, the concession will be opening at noon. They're going to be having horseshoes starting at 1 o'clock, and, of course, prizes are awarded. They're going to be having demonstrations. That's from 1 to 6, and children's bingo. And that silent auction from the day before will still be going on, but it ends at 7 p.m. And then the stomp dance will start at 7:30. So please bring your own chair. There'll be raffles, a 50-50, and food baskets and cake plate. And, of course, the number to get a hold of on that one would be Felix Brown at 918-504-0215, and then Wade Bucktrot at 918-378-9385. We got a benefit Indian taco sale this Friday, November 4th from 11 to 2. Be on the Mvskoke Creek Nation Housing Division, second floor conference room. Price is $7, and it's for the For Love of the Game basketball tournament held on November 25th and 26th. That's their Thanksgiving tournament. So please, if you're feeling hungry that day, go for that benefit Indian taco sale. We got a walking to stop diabetes. It's Leave a Lasting Footprint in 2016. Join us at the University of Tulsa Saturday, November 12th, and the sign-in will be at 9 a.m. and the walk begins at 10. And it's join Team Mvskoke Walking. So please go to that if you're feeling that you want to help out some way. I'm going to try and be there. I want to be able to do that and participate. So please, if I can't make it there, and if you can, please do join up and help out. It's a great thing that they're doing over there. Next one, the Environmental Services celebrates American National Recycles Day, which is November 15th, which will be beginning Monday, November 14th. They'll be hosting a recycling event, and they'll be collecting electronics, cardboard, paper, bottles, and aluminum cans. And they'll be having Green Country Shredding Company here for all the documents that you need to be shredded. And, of course, they're not going to be accepting items such as refrigerators, small appliances, tires, and car batteries. Only the electronics, cardboard, paper, bottles, and aluminum cans. But for more information, please call 918-549-2580. And it looks like we are coming to the end of the announcements. That is it for that. Well, a lot of things are still going on at Mvskoke Media. Of course, the November 15th, the November 1st edition will be coming out here pretty soon, if y'all haven't seen it already. The November 15th is on board, and of course, with that one, of course, somebody's going to be talking about what's the biggest things that are going on. We got the Veterans Day, we got Native American Day, and we also have Thanksgiving, of course. So we got a lot of busy. It's a pretty busy time for Mvskoke Media trying to cover these events, and also I'm pretty sure it's a pretty busy time for everybody else. Especially October just keeps everything rolling and rolling. So, but other than that, a couple things I have going. I know I have a couple of features heading up with foster care and adoption, so that's a great thing. That should be a great story. I'm getting everything down, and once I get all my interviews done, the writing will commence. We have a couple columns as well, and I do also have a couple of things that we turned in over from the Indian Fall Fest, as well as the sexual assault nursing examiner with the SANE program with the Mvskoke Creek Nation Department of Health. They had started another SANE exam room, which was at the Okemah Community Hospital, Creek Nation Community Hospital. So now they have two in Mvskoke Creek Nation. So want to give a big congratulations on that. We know it's pretty bad that they have to have that, but it's also a great thing that they have it in 2 different areas right now, so people will not have to be driving far off places. Because I know a lot of those, whenever I was talking to everybody, they had situations where they had to drive such places such as Shawnee just to get those type of things taken care of. So, but we are coming to an end of Mvskoke Radio. I want to thank Gary Fife for doing the interview with David Turner, our Tourism and Recreation Director, and also Dina Votra for talking about the homeless veterans program with the reintegration program. So enough of me talking, and we want to tell y'all to have a great day, and thank you for listening to Mvskoke Radio.
You've been listening to Mvskoke Radio. Join us again next week for more local, tribal, and community news and updates. Madam.
On the air, on your phone, and online, it's classic hits of the 60s, 70s.